Family, the track we're about to interact with right now was brought to my attention via a donation from one of our subscribers. Now, if you want to recommend a song, the link to the PayPal is going to be in the description below because, of course, YouTube yanks 30% of super chats. Guys, I appreciate, as always, your open, curious attention. Back to the video. Token, talk to me, please. Cook, buddy.
Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, Superbad American Pie, Hollywood Sounds, Triple X Search raised me, I'm your baby. Mom left my dad and never talked to a man again, just to paint a picture how the marriage went, and that's just what I thought what every marriage was.
Yo. So first of all, I'm getting what does your love look like vibes. For those of us who were there for that journey with Token and Rin, you know, he's saying again, you know, there's that love right there, you know, that decorative ornament right there. Love to Token, he's trying to express from the beginning, love to me looks very different, right? I was raised in a household where I didn't see mom and dad interact in a normal way, right? She never talked to a man again. This was kind of my idea of what love was. It's very, very messed up. After saying, you know, I was raised by internet trolls, and I think he said, American Pie, right? I'm gonna go back, go back and, I'm gonna let him cook. I really want to digest this.
Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, Superbad American Pie, Hollywood Sounds, Triple X Search raised me, I'm your baby. Mom left my dad and never talked to a man again, just to paint a picture how the marriage went. And that's just what I thought what every marriage was. I still would call it love, but I never saw them touch. And I knew it wasn't sex, I only seen them kiss once. But married for 20 plus, when I was young, if there was nudity in movies, mama put some anger to it. Little did she know that I wasn't a stranger to it. Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, Superbad American Pie.
Guys, before we continue, I just want to let you know that this is kind of one of my fears. I'm a father of a 5-year-old. And the idea that my daughter is engaging in things, I mean, you have to kind of embrace fatality to a certain degree and just recognize that the things that you care about are not necessarily deeply within your control, right? He's saying my mom was trying to protect me from something that I was already deeply engaging in, you know, behind the scenes. And there's few things scarier than that as a parent.
Mama put some anger to it. Little did she know that I wasn't a stranger to it.
Right.
Trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, Superbad American Pie, Hollywood Sounds, Triple X Search raised me, I'm your baby. I was infatuated with sex when I was 6. Mom blamed it on the music, so CDs were edited. But it wasn't the CDs, the privacy intrigued me.
Guys, did you hear that? There's a tool there. He said he was infatuated with this, and his mother's response is to pretend that this doesn't exist. And listen, you know, I'm not saying that this is a bad mother, that this is a bad person, right? But it is sometimes our intuition that, you know, we don't understand. We have our own traumas, and so we just kind of hide the thing. We hide the interest. You know, I was interested in demons, like when I was, a little older than, you know, a Token is here, right? When I was a little kid, I was interested in, like, I was fascinated with demons because I was terrified I was going to hell. I was raised in a very religious household. And as a result of that, I had to deal with some of that too. It's like not being able to rent and engage in horror films and not being able to, you know, turn the movie off when it starts to get scary, which only makes the infatuate. Now I'm obsessed with, like, Clive Barker. You know? You know, it's just, he's giving you tools here if you're willing to really lean in, you know. As a result of him being infatuated with sex too young, his mother's fear-based response is to start editing things and to remove this from his life, which is only gonna kind of...
Search raised me, I'm your baby. I was infatuated with sex when I was 6. Mom blamed it on the music, so CDs were edited.
Right.
But it wasn't the CDs, the privacy intrigued me. You look when they say don't look. So I was 8 scribbling pictures of a naked body till the teacher found my notebook. She had to make sure my home's good, so I was put in therapy. Imagine a therapist studying an 8-year-old's rendition of naked breasts. I was always questioned, especially cause I only grew up with women present. My therapist put down his pad during one session and asked if I ever thought about my mom and my sister naked. I don't remember what I said, I just remember the feeling of realizing my mom and sister were big breasted. I broke out crying, I couldn't stop and I didn't know why. It's funny which memories stick with you. I was 9.
Guys, this I think is the result of a lot of people dropping the ball. And look, human beings, children don't have it figured out, and neither do adults. It's kind of one of the scary things, right? It's like adults have invented all these games, all these ways of pretending that we have it figured out. The next wisdom school that we're doing at the Hilliard Library is about the wisdom of children. It's coming up this Sunday. Nobody is willing to take young Token aside and say, hey, you know, this thing that you're interested in, it's actually a natural thing. This is something that adults do, you know, animals do it. It's for reproduction. You know, there's pleasure in it. There's consequences to it. It's, you know, if someone had just leaned in instead of, you know, blocking all of this and saying, oh, this is bad. And, you know, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it's your internal shame which causes you to respond that way, right?
When I was 12, I started hanging with older kids. They would tell me things and they would show me things. Teachers always said I had an old soul. Must have been just my soul, cause my brain didn't know a thing. A mutual friend led me to this older kid's house. We were in his basement, 2 other older kids round. When my homie left, I should have left, but I stayed there. Didn't know these kids well, but I felt safe there. Shouldn't have felt safe there. Dirty conversations about the...
Guys, I apologize for stopping it too much. Please let me cook, you know, because Token is cooking here too. Why did he feel safe in this environment, right? Was he finally not thought of as weird and strange because of the conversations that happen around these older kids? You know, adolescent kids, you know, because, I mean, now this is kind of young Token around, you know, this group of immature older boys, right? It's like, okay, well, you know, these guys are talking about it. These guys, this is the only group that's willing to actually confront these things that I'm interested in and confused about head on. And this is a consequence, if you're willing to see it this way. This is one of the consequences. And I think Token is trying to let us know. It's like, if parents don't take a intentional interest, right, in these things, then children, they're just going to find it somewhere else. They're going to have it explained to them by someone else, right?
I felt safe there. Shouldn't have felt safe there. Dirty conversations about the girls in their grade where people lost virginities. Me, I ain't even kissed yet. I didn't even think about getting my wet. That night I was talked into doing things I ain't want to do. A lot of I don't knows, a lot of come on dude, a lot of no one's even gonna know, a lot of closing eyes. A lot of long showers and no appetites. Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American Pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raised me, I'm your baby. I just started dropping music at the time, writing love songs about a girl I'd hope to find, playing Wayne tapes, knowing I could never say the first body to touch my body looked just like mine. It's funny which memories end up sticking with you, cause
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to rewind it. I want this. I want all of this to sink in. And I know, you know, just hear me out.
A lot of long showers and no appetites. Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American Pie, Hollywood signs, triple X search raised me, I'm your baby. I just started dropping music at the time, writing love songs about a girl I'd hope to find, playing Wayne tapes, knowing I could never say the first body to touch my body looked just like mine. It's funny.
You know what's crazy about him studying Lil Wayne tapes? Lil Wayne went through a very similar situation when Lil Wayne was a child, right? And Lil Wayne talks about that to some degree. He doesn't talk about it often, but it's very interesting that that Wayne having gone through that trauma, whatever trauma happened, that, you know, that same spirit, right? Lil Wayne, a rapper who kind of was affected in that same way as a young person. It's interesting that they connected in that way.
Which memories end up sticking with you? Cause I forgot it even happened till I turned 22. Then it all came back and it felt brand new. Wondering if it plays a role in relationships I pursue, or is it just a distant memory that never left a mark? One night my homie had some questions at the bar. He said, why do all of your girls look fresh out of a magazine? I said, it's just my type. He said, I feel you, but I mean, what if the perfect girl for you was normal looking? Would you do something? I said, what? He said, it just feels like you're trying to prove something.
Wow.
And you know that everyone knows you well, so maybe you still trying to prove something to yourself. What are you still trying to prove?
So there's what are you still trying to prove? That's a real friend. You know what I'm saying? I remember one of Token's lines, all of my homies are fake and the only thing that we have in common is that I'm also fake. It's like his Tech 9 bar, you know, when he did that thing with Tech 9, it was so dope that I had to kind of slow it down and figure out what he was talking about. But that was a real friend. That was one of the real ones. It was like, hey, bro, and that's one of the tools, too. Keep a friend in your life who's willing to pull you aside and say, hey, bro, what exactly are you trying to get out of this cycle that you stay in? Right? When you see somebody that's stuck in a pattern, be the kind of friend that can actually deeply investigate that and say, hey, you're clearly not after this thing that keeps happening because it keeps happening. There's some void that you're trying to fill with this thing. Right? I want to hear that conversation once more.
Questions at the bar. He said, why do all of your girls look fresh out of a magazine? I said, it's just my type. He said, I feel you, but I mean, what if the perfect girl for you was normal looking? Would you do something? I said, what? He said, it just feels like you're trying to prove something. And you know that everyone knows you well, so maybe you still trying to prove something to yourself. What are you still trying to prove? Internet trolls raised me, ads raised me, Nickelodeon raised me, Dan raised me, super bad American pie, Hollywood signs, XXX search raised me, I'm your baby.
Family, the last thing I want to say, that was brilliant. He said to be continued, so I can't wait for the next installment. Salute to Token for doing something that so many rappers are afraid to do, which is to be vulnerable, right? A lot of rappers it's very rare that you find a rapper that's both impressive and expressive. I'm from the battle rap ilk, and in battle rap, we're very impressive. But rarely, you know, sometimes you find a battle rapper that's both impressive and expressive, like a B-Dot. But Token, I've always seen as extremely impressive. But to see him get into this expressive mode and to go there so deeply. But, you know, the last thing that I do want to say is when he says internet trolls raised me, right? Nickelodeon raised me. American Pie raised me. When he says they raised me, I think he means they played the role that a parent or responsible adult should have, which means they confronted this question on my mind directly. They didn't edit themselves. American Pie isn't edited, right? It's not filtered. It shows you a version of what you're looking for. So if the parent is just going to say, ugh, I don't want to deal with that. You know, let's just edit all the movies. Let's just blind your eyes. Let's not have the conversation. Someone else is going to raise your children.